So when I was in college, I really appreciated Dr. Sandberg's honesty in us in organic too when she sat back and said that pretty much the rules for IUPAC naming are going to go out the door when we start talking about benzene rings. And I appreciate that because there were two practical problems. First of all, what's considered a priority group? If you've got a benzene ring and you've got chains coming off it, there's things on those chains, like it falls down this rabbit hole of really super complicated, trying to even figure out who's the first carbon, and you can end up with getting dozens of names based on where you want to start with. The second is far more realistic. These compounds have been known long before IUPAC. They have trade names, and people are not going to change their ways. So I would encourage you to name in IUPAC if you can, because it's the more useful way, it's the more utilitarian way. That said, we do acknowledge that these trade names have leaked into IUPAC. They are considered part of IUPAC even though they're really not IUPAC. So there are 6 benzene derivatives that you need to know the names of because they are actually useful to know in terms of trades. So if I have a benzene ring with an R group on it, if the R group is a methyl group, this is going to be called toluene. So toluene, we have a CH3 up here in a benzene ring. This and benzene are some of the 2 most common solvents you're going to see in terms of organic lab for cleaning. Pretty much if it doesn't dissolve in benzene or toluene, it's probably not going to dissolve in a lot of other solvents, or it's not organic. Second, if R is an OH group, this is not 1-hydroxybenzene, this is phenol. So phenol or phenol is one of the more useful alcohols in terms of reactions we're going to do with benzene because the hydrogen is actually pretty easy to get off. If R is NH2, this is aniline. Aniline is a very common derivative. It's used a lot in terms of trying to make like these nitroesters of benzene. If R is a carboxylic acid group, this is benzoic acid and shows up a lot. Sodium benzoate, if I remember correctly, that's actually a derivative, so actually ends up occurring quite a bit in terms of chemistry. If it is a double bond, so we have a carbon coming off with a double bond, this is called styrene, and you probably know this from polystyrene. So polystyrene is a polymer made off of this styrene derivative. The last one, if we have a ketone, this is acetaphenone. So acetaphenone, very common ketone derivative of benzene, shows up a lot. So these 6, even though they're not IUPAC, they are trade names, they are allowed in the IUPAC nomenclature, and they show up enough that you should probably be familiar with them.